I've counted about 130 people who are just milling around Riverbend Park this evening. That's not counting all the folks that are already here in the river.
Eckerthorn said he felt blindsided by those endorsements, and we'll see if they carry any weight with Jefferson County voters tonight. Of course, those polls close at 8, and we'll have more details for you as the evening goes on. 2 shooting complaint calls came from the Redmond area last Friday, and police are asking for help from the public.
Press the button and...
This is a big moment. This is history being made. Oh my, okay.
Lauren, I did not expect to have a spiritual experience in a wicker basket today, but that's where we are at. We are 500 feet up right now, perfect conditions.
Right, it's like, what should we even be wearing right now at this time of year? Mother Nature is keeping us on our toes, and we will remain on our toes for the rest of the week.
Talking about emojis.
Yes, you definitely use them unless you're my mom. On tonight's What the Tech, Jamie Tucker takes a first look at what's coming to your phone and tips on how to use them. We're going to continue to see that haze throughout the morning. That's going to clear up in the afternoon, and that is when the air quality advisory ends for Deschutes County. The biggest amount of people that they've had at past festivals was 3,500 people spread out across the entire weekend, but he says they expect to actually double that number this weekend. More locals are turning to options like buses and biking for their commute options. Bring your keys, jacket, phone, and snow park permit. That's what you'll need if you plan on playing in our current winter wonderland outside. But then we're going to stair-step right back up and be right back up to 70 by the start of next week with a little bit of sunshine. And on Martin Luther King Jr. Day, they need more help than ever. Beware of animals with claws. Do not assume they are friends, despite what Disney movies tell you. It's true. Early this morning, shots fired at this home behind me woke up neighbors on Scarlett Court in Bend.
I woke up about 3 o'clock in the morning, wasn't sure what I'd heard.
Lisa Clark got up to investigate the sound and was the first to call 911.
She was parked in the middle of the cul-de-sac and firing at the house across the way, just kind of wandering around and shooting randomly, it seemed like. Had all the doors open in her car, was playing loud music.
The suspect fired 15 rounds from a handgun into the home at 2277 Northeast Scarlett Court before police arrived.
Fortunately, the home was unoccupied. No one was inside, and we believe no one was injured.
The suspect, revealed to be 26-year-old Megan Leanne Teeter, fled the scene in a Jeep and hid in a home on Southwest Chuckanut Drive. The Central Oregon Emergency Response Team with Bend PD spent around 3 hours negotiating with Teeter before she finally surrendered to officers close to 10:45 a.m. A neighbor caught the moment of her arrest on video.
She came out with her hands up, like kind of like this, and you know, I would be intimidated if there was like 30 police officers with guns pointing at me. So, I mean, you could, you know, she looked certainly scared.
Wright says his wife recognized Teeter from walks around the neighborhood.
It's kind of scary. You don't really see that a lot in this neighborhood. And I mean, really, I haven't seen a lot of that kind of stuff really anywhere.
Detectives served a warrant at the home on Chuckanut Drive and found the handgun. Some details are still unclear.
We know that she's a family relation to the people that live on Scarlett Court. Beyond that, we don't know her motivation.
A couple weeks ago, we had kind of a verbal argument between 2 people at that house, some screaming back and forth, and that was unusual for that too. But obviously didn't think it would escalate to anything like this weeks later.
To find the latest updates on this story, you can visit our website at centraloregondaily.com and click News Links. I'm Karli Olson for Central Oregon Daily News. A process as old as time.
Butter, half and half, salt and sugar.
Well, as old as 1916.
It's good eating.
For 106 years, the ladies of Grace First Lutheran Church in Bend have spent a week almost every year making Norwegian lefsa, a potato bread delicacy.
We're not going out and harvesting our own raw potatoes anymore. That was a big, big undertaking.
Next month, they'll be sold to raise hundreds of dollars for a cause.
We use it to buy material. We make quilts for Lutheran World Action, disaster zones. They go all over the world.
A practice born from the Scandinavian mill workers who founded the church, now a tradition for many. How many years have you been making lefsa?
Oh, well, probably off and on for 50 years with my mother, who was 100% Norwegian. Oh, probably 20 years ago. We hear all kinds of stories. That's what's fun about it.
I moved here to this church in '81, and I have a German background, but they've made a Scandinavian out of me.
This well-oiled machine of laughter and cheer churns out 2,500 Lefsas during the week.
She mixes all of this first, and then tomorrow after she adds the flour, she'll have it in the rolls and then slice it. We try to get them out 14 inches.
Fry them in the pans at 500 degrees for just a few minutes.
It's got a little bit of brown.
And take them to the drying rack to be folded and saved for the big sale.
Even those things that are, we call rejects, those are the ones that are too crispy.
We eat right away.
We eat them.
A delicious conduit to carry on camaraderie and tradition.
This is something that, I love to do with my grandmother, my mom, and you want to pass it on and be able to continue to share it with your own children.
Karli Olson, Central Oregon Daily News.
There we go. Here, Cinder. Come here.
It's what they call a miracle.
She had to have been wrapped in angel wings.
Australian Shepherd mix Cinder is finally back home, the lone survivor of the Idaho plane crash that killed Ben firefighter Daniel Harrow and his twin brother Mark last Monday.
Such a pretty girl.
Amid the tragedy, a light of relief for the family, including in-laws Tim and Yolanda Davis.
To find out that night that she was alive, everyone was like, oh my goodness, can you believe? No one can. It's a miracle.
There's no indication of anything broken or no internal injuries. It seems like she's really just probably badly bruised pretty much all over her body.
Cinder belonged to Daniel and his wife Elisif, an adventurous companion to an equally adventurous owner.
The best word to describe Daniel is joy. He personifies joy. Everyone who meets him, he gives joy to.
I don't think I ever saw him bummed. He was always just had a uplifting word. Sometimes you hated him for him because you wanted to be
You wanted
bummed.
to kick him.
A tragedy they now know was completely unforeseen.
I knew in my heart, we all knew in our heart, that Daniel would have done everything possible. It was really uplifting to find out the unofficial cause is mechanical failure, and that Daniel did everything right. And if he had had like 2 to 5 seconds more of power, he could have made it. They would have made it.
Yeah.
It was several hours before first responders made it to the crash site and to Cinder.
The fire service has a tradition called first watch. A firefighter dies, they set a watch and they stay with them 24/7 until the funeral, through the funeral. And then we realized with Cinder had the first watch. For 9 hours, she sat there in that plane watching over her beloved boys.
An unspeakable loss, but now a comfort through the darkness.
Cinder is kind of extra special important to us right now. She's a piece of Daniel.
Karli Olson, Central Oregon Daily News.